Hello everybody, welcome to Spectrum Academy. I'm Pranita and today we're going to look into the topic cyclone. So we've always been hearing about various names of cyclones hitting various regions. Cyclones like Cyclone Nisarga, Cyclone Fani, Amphan, the very recent Cyclone 𝗙𝗏𝗘. Okay. So today we will be looking deeply into some of the topics like what is a cyclone, how are they formed, nomenclatures of the cyclone, 𝗙𝗏𝗘 cyclone and major cyclones in India. So let's begin. Okay, so what is a cyclone? Cyclone is a formation of low pressure system where the wind spirals inwards. It is a rapid inward circulation of air masses about low pressure center, which is circling counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. Now it is just the definition. We will be looking into deep how exactly a cyclone is formed, like as we have discussed earlier. Okay, so the word cyclone is derived from the Greek word that is cyclos, meaning coils of snake. So basically there are two types of cyclones. One is tropical cyclone and other is temperate cyclone. So one of the important types that we are going to discuss today is the tropical cyclone. Okay, so firstly, before discussing about tropical cyclones, I would like to mention some of the factors which are responsible for the formation of cyclone. Now factors like wind speed, wind direction, temperature, humidity, the very important Coriolis force to develop the low pressure zone, right? Let's move towards the tropical cyclone. Correct. So tropical cyclones are formed in the area of Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So as we can see in the map, the whole belt, right? The belt where the tropical cyclones are formed. Yes. So there are different names of cyclones according to different areas. Like the cyclones are named as tornadoes in the Guiana lands of West Africa and southern USA. Then it is called as cyclones in the Indian Ocean, as we can see in the map. Then it is called as typhoons in the China Sea and Pacific Ocean. Then it is called as 𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍 in the Northwest Australia. And it is called as hurricanes in the West Indian Island and the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so first of all, let's understand the wind movements in the tropical cyclone. So it can be determined by low pressure and high pressure system. This is the basic point, right? It can be determined by the low pressure system and the high pressure system. So first, let's understand that the wind blows from the high pressure to the low pressure areas. Now, let us understand the causes of the high pressure zone and the low pressure zone. First of all, how are the low pressure zones formed? The low pressure zone occur at warm air. Okay, let it be land or ocean, right? As we can see in the images above. So how does the land become warm? It becomes warm because of the incoming heat of the sun. Let it be direct or indirect. So next, how is the high pressure zone formed? The high pressure zone is formed where the air is cool. Let it be again land or ocean, right? Now, which are the high pressure zones? The high pressure zones are the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay? Yes. Now through the diagram, we can understand that wind blows from the high pressure zone to the low pressure zone. Yes. Now, so far we have learned that the cyclone is the formation of low pressure system with the high speed winds revolving around it. Okay. The water takes up the heat from the atmosphere to change into vapor. When the water vapor changes back to liquid form as raindrops, this heat is released to the atmosphere. The heat released to the atmosphere warms the air around and air tends to rise and cause a drop in pressure. The cool air rushes to the center of the storm and this cycle happens repeatedly. Now let's look into the Coriolis force, which is very important. Then we'll come back to the topic of tropical cyclones, like how does it happen? Yes, let's look into the Coriolis force. Okay, now due to the rotation of the earth from the west to east, a force gets generated and it acts perpendicular to the direction of the motion and to the axis of rotation. Correct? Now we all know that the speed of the surface of the earth at equator is much faster than the speed of the surface of the earth at poles. So the winds coming from the North Pole to the equator gets deflected towards the right direction in the northern hemisphere. Okay. And the winds coming from the South Pole towards the equator gets deflected towards the left direction in the southern hemisphere. And because of this process, there are so many pressure belts formed on the surface of the earth. Again, the movement of the cyclone, a low pressure area is formed at the center. It attracts the cool air from the high pressure area. It means that the inner area consists of warm air surrounded by cool air at the outer area. The low pressure region, which is warm, expands and rises. Now the high pressure zones cool winds the void created by the rising warm air. Air starts cooling as it rises in the atmosphere. This is a continuous process which causes the center of the storm or eye of the storm. Now, because of the Coriolis effect, the cool air which is coming towards the center gets deflected. Right. In southern hemisphere, the deflection is towards left, causing the spin in clockwise direction. And in northern hemisphere, the deflection occurs towards the right, causing the spin in anti-clockwise direction. The tropical cyclones occur over the ocean surface and the coastal regions. There is a lot of moisture in the cyclone when it is on the ocean. But as soon as it enters the land, the moisture supply gets lower or it gets cut off, and hence the cyclone dissipates. That means its power gets reduced. The cyclone, while coming to the coast and from there to the land, the place where it crosses the coast towards the land is called as landfall of the cyclone. Now we can see that the height of the cyclones is up to the troposphere, that is from 1500 to 1800 meters. Okay. Now let's move to the next point, that is the nomenclatures of the cyclone. The cyclone that form in every ocean basin across the world are named by the regional specialized meteorological centers, that is RSMCs, and Tropical Cyclone Warning Center, that is TCWC. The tropical cyclones in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea are named by the World Meteorological Organization, that is WMO, plus United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific, that is UNESCAP. We will look into detail like what is UNESCAP, okay? But first, let us see that the cyclone Nisarga was named by Bangladesh, right? The cyclone Gati was named by India. Cyclone Tauktae, recent one, is named by Myanmar. Now, what is ESCAP? It is a regional development arm of the United Nations for the Asia Pacific region. It has 59 member states plus 9 associate members. Its headquarters is in Bangkok, that is Thailand, right? And it is the objective. ESCAP works to overcome some of the region's greatest challenges, right? It provides some result-oriented projects, right, for some technical assistance to the member states. Now, let's move into Cyclone Tauktae. Yes, the Cyclone Tauktae, it means gecko in Burmese language, right? A low pressure area was seen developing on 15th of May, right, in the Southeast Arabian Sea adjoining the 𝗥𝗱𝒃 island. And then Indian Meteorological Department, it has classified the cyclone Tauktae into extremely severe cyclone to very severe cyclone. IMD classifies the cyclone on the basis of the maximum sustained surface wind speed, that is MSW, it generates, right? Now we can see that the cyclone Tauktae, as it has been classified into extremely severe to very severe cyclone, we can see on the screen the extremely severe cyclone MSW is from 90 to 119 knots to very severe cyclone, that is 64 to 89 knots. We can just imagine the amount of destruction it can cause to the humankind, the destruction of property and life. These are some of the major cyclones which has occurred in India in the past, like Cyclone Fani in Odisha, Cyclone Okhi. It had emerged in the Arabian Sea, affected the mainland India with the coastal areas of Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Then Cyclone Vardha, right? It had crossed the eastern coast of India and affected Chennai, Kanchipuram, Visakhapatnam 2016. Yes. Then Cyclone 𝗟𝗏, which had developed in the Arabian Sea and it moved towards the Gulf of Eden. Then Cyclone Nisarga, Cyclone Amphan in 2020. Then Cyclone Vayu in 2019. Thank you for attending today. You will meet in the next lecture. Till then, stay safe.